There is an organism that can eat your eye, and the way it gets in is something you've probably already done. You were too tired to take your contacts out. You closed your eyes, and nothing happened. You woke up fine. For most people, it stays that way. But there's a version of this night that ends with a surgeon cutting away part of your eye, because while you slept, something microscopic slipped in and started feeding. This is what actually happens, and why the people it happened to never thought it could. In the US alone, about 45 million people wear contacts, and a huge share of them admit to the same thing: napping in them, sleeping in them overnight, a just this once that quietly becomes a habit. It feels harmless because the punishment is delayed. You don't pay the first night, or the 10th. The eye is patient, until it isn't. To understand how a single night flips from harmless to permanent, you need one strange fact about your eye. It breathes, and a contact lens quietly suffocates it. The cornea, the clear dome at the front of your eye, has no blood vessels. If it did, you couldn't see through it. So it pulls oxygen straight from the air. A lens already chokes that supply during the day. Close your eyes to sleep, and your eyelid chokes it again. Lens plus closed lid equals a cornea gasping. And here's the part you'll never feel. No pain, no sting, no warning. The damage is completely silent. That's exactly what makes it dangerous. By the time anything hurts, it's already begun. Starved of oxygen, the surface cells swell and loosen. The cornea's outer wall, normally a flawless, sealed barrier, starts to crack open at the microscopic level. And that wall is the single most important defense your eye has. You've just unlocked it. Which wouldn't matter at all if something weren't waiting on the other side, ready to walk through. So who is it? A lens you sleep in becomes a warm, moist, low-oxygen shelf pressed against an open wound. Bacteria love it. The one doctors fear most here is Pseudomonas. Pseudomonas is fast and aggressive. On a healthy eye, it usually can't get a foothold. On an oxygen-starved cornea with a loosened surface, it can carve an ulcer. A literal hole eroding into the cornea in as little as 24 to 48 hours. The early signs feel like nothing. Redness, the feeling of something in your eye, sensitivity to light. Easy to blame on a bad night's sleep. Easy to ignore for one more day. But bacteria are the common danger, not the reason people talk about the parasite. Because there's something else. Something in the water. Sometimes literally your shower water. And it's far worse. Quick note before we get to it. Meet Acanthamoeba. A single-celled organism, an amoeba, and it's almost everywhere. Tap water, shower heads, swimming pools, hot tubs, lakes, soil, dust. You've been around it your whole life and never known. On your skin, it's harmless. The problem is your eye and the lens sitting on it. Here's the everyday mistake that lets it in. Rinsing lenses in tap water, showering with them on, swimming without taking them out, topping off old solution instead of replacing it, and sleeping in lenses that touched any of that. The lens traps the amoeba against your eye and holds it there for hours. And that loosened, gap-filled surface you made overnight? That's the doorway. Once Acanthamoeba gets into the cornea, it does something bacteria don't. It feeds on the tissue directly, and on the nerves running through it. That's where the name comes from. It doesn't just infect the eye, it consumes it, cell by cell. And it's built to survive. When it's threatened, by your immune system or by medication, it wraps itself in a hardened shell called a cyst and waits. That's why this is one of the hardest infections in all of ophthalmology to kill. Treatment isn't days, it's months of hourly eye drops, sometimes for a year. And even then, it doesn't always win. Doctors have documented these cases for years, and they follow a cruel pattern. Picture a healthy person in their 20s. contacts every day. One habit, showering in them, or the occasional night they don't take them out. Day 1, a gritty, irritated eye. They assume it's dryness. They buy drops. Then comes the pain, and this is the signature of Acanthamoeba. Patients describe pain far beyond what the eye looks like it should cause. Pain that keeps them awake. Light becomes unbearable. It's often misdiagnosed at first, treated as a common infection, which does nothing, while the amoeba keeps eating. Weeks can pass before someone scrapes the cornea and finally finds it. By then, a cloudy ring has formed across the cornea. Vision in that eye fades to fog. And in the worst cases, the only option left is a corneal transplant, replacing the front of the eye with donor tissue, with no guarantee the amoeba won't come back. All of it tracing back to the same unremarkable decision, leaving a lens on an eye that needed a night off. So the real question isn't whether this is rare. It is rare. The question is, what quietly moves you from the safe side of that line to the wrong one? Because it's smaller than you'd think. Here are the moments that feel harmless and aren't. Napping in your contacts. Even 20 minutes cuts your cornea's oxygen. Sleeping in them overnight, even the ones labeled extended wear, the risk jumps 6 to 8 times over. Showering or swimming in them. Rinsing or storing them in tap water. Topping off old solution. And that 2-week pair you've had for 2 months? That one. The fixes are almost insultingly simple. Lenses out before sleep, every time. Never let them touch water. Fresh solution, never reused. Replace them on schedule. And if an eye turns red and painful and hates light, especially if the pain feels bigger than the redness, that is not tired eyes. That's a same-day trip to an eye doctor. Here, hours matter. None of this means you should fear your contacts. Millions wear them safely for a lifetime. It means the safety was never in the lens. It was in the habits around it. Everything is fine until one ordinary shortcut meets one microscopic organism at exactly the wrong time. You'll almost certainly never meet it, but now you know the door it walks through and how to keep it shut. So before you go, one honest question. Did you actually know any of this before tonight? Tell me in the comments. I read them. And if you'd rather stay on the safe side of that line, hit subscribe. I break down a new one of these twice a week, so there's always another thing you'll be glad you found out early.